But the game is to obviously plug any questions you have during the sessions. This first one, of course, is more of an introductory session. So I'll reintroduce it once we start with Recart and messenger marketing here in about 15 minutes. But Derric, why don't you lead us off, man? What's going on with e-commerce right now? What's going on with the technology, and introduce yourself, of course.
Especially on the tech side. Yeah. So to give you guys a little bit of background on me, my entire business is predicated around connecting merchants with the right tech tools. So I spend half of my day in tech demos, and all of your partners and sponsors here, by the way, are partners of mine. So these are all tools that I really do love. And then I spend the other half of my day talking with merchants. We do these free merchant consultations, and we kind of lay out the tech landscape for them. So in doing that, I can tell you, after doing over 150 of these, what merchants want the most. And then I think we can kind of maybe collaborate here, Alex, on how we can, as agency owners, I ran an agency for 4 years, how you might be able to take that technology and then turn it into a managed service, or simply use it as some sort of, let's say, underground white label component to your business. It's either, empowering your business to work better, or you're using it for the client directly and then doing a managed service on top of that. So that's what we are here to kind of discuss. When you think about, so I think the first place to start with this is actually, what type of agency are you, and where do you want to head with your service lineup? So if you're in chat, maybe tell me what type of agency you're running, and especially how focused are you in e-commerce? Because I know some agencies can go outside of e-commerce, but like here, we're here to talk about e-commerce and e-commerce tools more than anything else. And I honestly, after running my agency for a while, I wish we'd niched it down to e-commerce, but we did take other clients, and that ended up, I don't know, stagnating the business a bit. And I think for you, it'll depend on your, it'll depend on how far deep you want to go in adapting tools and adding managed services. Because if you've only got one client that this fits, then you don't really want to change that around in your business. So what do we got here? Who's anybody want to share their agency? Is it web dev? Is it social ads? Is it Google ads? Is it maybe it's image content creative kind of agency or something like that?
Let me plug a couple things here, Derric. So and for those just joining, Carlos, we are doing an introductory session now. We're going to kind of lay the groundwork for what's to come. But Derric is running a platform that allows him a very unique perspective on what tools and what technology and what services are being requested from the stores themselves, right? So I'd like to hear, Derric, what are maybe the top 5 unique tools and services that you think are being high demand right now, or in high demand?
Yeah, well, I think the first place to start for any agency that's maybe running social advertising, I would say that split testing the landing pages has become really important. And there are a handful of I'm muted. How long was I muted? Sorry about that. So I was saying split testing. We want to split test the tools that we might want to implement here. And so I see like Okendo is on the lineup as a review tool. And one of the things that I always question is, where should the review tool be placed on our product detail page? So putting in a split testing regimen for landing pages and product detail pages will increase the profitability of any advertising agency. So if you don't offer some sort of split testing service, I think this is the next logical step. And then figuring out which tool provider, like which review partner you like to work with, and maybe even for you, at least, which one converts the highest, or which one's going to do the best on mobile. I know Okendo has a stellar mobile experience. And then putting a split testing regimen in place, you can charge thousands of dollars more in order to kind of manage that on top. Then the next one is, of course, kind of diving deeper into technology. SMS is something we absolutely have to talk about. If you're an email ad agency, or even if you're an ads agency, and you can imagine how the ad sends people to the site, especially you're going to get a ton of mobile traffic, I'm sure. And then you can collect that phone number and market to people later. Oftentimes, when you're an agency for a smaller merchant, they aren't doing this stuff themselves, and they're not doing it well. And it can pay dividends for you to take this over, because it's not just, of course, another managed service that you're going to layer on top, but it is going to complement and increase your return on ad spend. It's going to make your original core service, look like a winner. And at the end of the day, it's often a very similar kind of concept or strategy for anybody that's doing advertising. It's a funnel strategy, and you're just thinking, okay, how do we collect information and market to them? So split testing, then a few different things you can split test on product detail pages, and I haven't even gone into really all of them. And then SMS, how can you collect and market to people better and take that off of your merchant's plate so that you can earn a higher retainer.
Yeah, and let me do this real quick just to help everyone understand what we've got coming up in about 15 minutes here. So I'm going to run through just a quick review of what's going on. And Derric, we can mention anything. Let me run through it first, and then we'll talk real quickly about what it means. So one that we picked out for this is TapCart. Automatically converts your e-commerce store to a mobile app. Gadsby.ai is a micro-influencer automation and segmentation platform. These all integrate well with Shopify, Klaviyo, and others. TextFi, it's a program that these developers built to convert in the cart, but also repeat purchases. They built the actual workflow and worked so well, they turned it into a SaaS product. Catapult, if you aren't doing any CRO on the checkout itself, on the cart, there are so many ways to do it. Design is one, but also the types of payments and exits that you can have. Lease to own is a big one coming up. Catapult is one. They just raised about 50 million, I think, and they're not going anywhere. So we hear from them. Recart, I think we're all familiar with Recart. I think it was #1 in Shopify App Store for a while. They have some really cool stuff that's going on right now with messenger marketing. And there's some updates to Facebook that we're going to hear about too. And Okendo, which is what you just mentioned. These guys have one of the best looking embedded reviews that I've ever seen. And we've worked with a lot of reviews platforms. So we're going to hear from all of them. And then we're going to learn a go-to-market strategy at the end. If you guys are curious in how to actually go to market with your tech partners, that is something that very few agencies are doing to its fullest extent. The ones that are doing it well tend to be the larger agencies, but we're starting to advise and see a lot of smaller agencies really getting close to tech partners and going to market with them, which means co-selling, co-marketing, wrapping up your brands together, and really putting yourselves in a good position to grow. So Derric, you share a lot of awesome, like, hey, here's the tool of the week, here's what's going on. What's one of the more popular ones that's gotten good feedback that maybe is lightweight, something they can add to their marketing or their sites today?
Yeah, and this is an emerging category, and it's kind of lightweight, but it's kind of robust. It's not one of the vendors here today, but it is something to think about on top of everything else. So again, an agency can benefit from increasing conversion rate, but they can also benefit from increasing their clients' profitability, because that's often one of the reasons you get let go. You're doing great on return on ad spend, but the client has other issues, which is so frustrating. So there's a tool called Price Stack. You plug it into a merchant's data, you plug it into their Shopify, you plug it into their Google Analytics, and all of a sudden it can predict the right price for the entire SKU count based on discounts that have occurred, and they basically build a real supply demand curve for every single product based on your own existing data. And imagine if now some products have fixed prices, they have manufacturer advertised prices and stuff like that, but if you can actually talk with your client and get them to talk about pricing and get them to consider changing prices, you can do it for like what you get to optimize for one of three things. Do you want more revenue? Do you want more customers? Or do you want more profit? And obviously each one has a different kind of play on what the merchant might want today. Maybe it is all about customer acquisition. We're playing the long game, or maybe it's a recurring subscription. So you really do just want more customers. Maybe it's a business that needs high margins in order to succeed and reinvest in advertising. So you plug in this tool, and there's like a free trial period and all that stuff. So it's like really easy and free to just get started. And you show them, you say, hey, here's a report that we just pulled that says you're underpriced by $7 on your core product. If you increase this, we believe that'll be the gap you need for the return on ad spend we're getting you, right? And likewise, if they have an inventory supply, let's say they have 100 units left and they want to sell it all by the end of the month, you can actually optimize for that too, so that you can kind of like clear out the warehouse and stop those. There's a lot of costs that go into like storing products in warehouse and stuff. So that's one that I really see emerging and playing well with everybody here today. Yeah, you've got Alloy.
Yeah, I
Hit me
love these
with it. What are your
guys.
thoughts?
Yeah, I had a call with the founder of Alloy last week and loving everything that they're doing. If you're not familiar, similar to Zapier and Tegromat, but they've built pre-integrated workflows to some of the best apps in e-commerce that we all use and love. So you see some of the ones here. So they pre-built marketing, fulfillment, operations, and rewards. Some of these tools are obviously natively integrated, but what if you want to fire like Airtable to Slack? Derric, you sent me a tool the other week that was a Shopify product export to Airtable. And I'll try to dig up the URL here.
Yeah, that's right.
But you can do so much for your clients by controlling and managing the products in obviously a different back end and doing some really cool stuff using Airtable, basically Sheets and Shopify. So really cool stuff. I'll try to dig it up, but have you had any experience with Alloy?
Yeah, and I think there's a competitor to this one called Mesa from the ShopPad, which is a well-known Shopify agency, and they work a little bit differently. I would say Alloy is a little bit easier to use, plug and play. Mesa, it's like you're going to hire their dev team on top, but it'll basically do anything you want them to do because they have the integrations built. They'll probably work with your third-party logistics provider, no matter who they are, and then they'll just make the custom integrations. Alloy is perfect for the plug and play. Essentially, it says recipes that you need in order to get this done. Now, one of the things I'd say about a tool like Alloy is this fits really well for a tool that your client should pay for and you should manage. So some of these other tools might be actually part of your services and the client would only pay for them as so long as they're paying you. But Alloy, I do believe to be one that should be most likely owned by the merchant, because the things that you set up there could be fundamental to their operations, could be fundamental to their internal marketing, and should be kind of considered something that continues to happen for the business, regardless of whether you're there or not. And I always think that's an important decision as an agency owner to say, like, okay, am I going to pay for this tool? Is the client going to pay for this tool? And what happens when we part ways? Is anybody on their side actually capable of managing it? This is the one. Yeah.
Yeah. So Derric posted this or sent out an email maybe a month back. I thought it was super cool. So I always look for interesting ways to not only better client services, but also to really add an extra level of unique value to client services. So can you explain this real quick? I got a siren. I got to mute myself.
It's just it's going to help you manage, like when orders come in, you can kind of see this in a flow. It can create tasks and follow-up tasks. Okay, we're going to print the label, we're going to check the packaging, we're going to add the insert card, we're going to test the product before we send it out. So however you might be using Airtable today, or and of course you could use Asana or any other tool, but you can you want to create a consistent flow for your operations team, for your e-commerce team. You might also track inventory through this, and because Airtable integrates with a lot of other tools, it might be pushing to Google Sheet that you share with another partner or anything like that. So there's a lot of stuff that you can kind of get done based on this. You can also, I think that one of the cool things here, the meta field editing, if inventory count goes below, then grab this content that we have in Airtable and push to our Shopify product description, right? So that it says not only 10 or only 20 left, but it says only 10 left. And you can do that automatically. This is really great for discounts and sales that might be time sensitive or inventory sensitive. And a lot of times you don't have a tool for it and you end up keeping somebody up until midnight to turn off the banner, and it kind of like ruins the day of one of your team members or something like that. So there's really great ways to put automation in place. And as an agency owner, I think it was always what I was looking for was, okay, what my team member did, what, okay, can I get a Zap to do that? Can I get, technology to do that instead of my team member? Because what we want our team doing is managing the tools and the strategies, not, tweaking the minutia every single minute. You're muted. pulled a Derric.
There we go. Sorry. Yeah. So very cool, very interesting stuff. So just to recap for those who just joined, Derric has a platform that allows merchants to go and check out new tools, what's going on. So he's got a really good perception of what's in demand, what's being searched for, what's interesting, right? So we went through a couple of our favorites. Price stack. I think I've got these in the chat though, but if you want me to rechat them, let me know. And then Base Genius, which isn't specific to Shopify, but they have this really awesome setup that allows you to export all your Shopify products, manage them in Airtable, which is more flexible and allows you to crowdsource and do cool stuff with the Airtable forms and set up your own automations inside of Airtable using stuff that Shopify may not be integrated with. SendGrid, for example, I think is one of them if you're using SendGrid. Maybe they do, I don't know, but just tools that Airtable is integrated with that Shopify may not be. Alloy just raised a big round, really awesome company. The founder's so humble, so cool. They built pre-built workflow automations on top of your favorite products and allows you to do more project management, fulfillment operations, these types of things that a lot of us agencies don't really touch. That allows us to start touching. If we're a marketing agency, we're all up here in the top of the funnel. But why aren't we helping our clients with the fulfillment and the operations, at least managing those workflows or at least helping them set them up? So if you can come to your client with this, they're going to thank you. That's what's important. They're making that experience better. To recap what's coming, TapCart, Gatsby, Textify, Catapult, Recart is up next. We got Nick in the chat. I'll turn it to him pretty soon. Okendo. And we're going to learn what are at least one valuable, doable, executable, that's not a word, but executable new services that you as the agency can set up, sell, and support today, tomorrow, as soon as you want, and also some free stuff, tools, offers from these guys that are going to be helpful to help your agency grow. They're already trained up. They're already ready. They're already going to help you get going. So I'm going to ask Nick to start video, and while we wait for...
I got one more tool I gotta tell you guys about.
Let's keep it going.
All right, so it's called copysmith.ai. I'll share it here in chat. Copysmith, and there's other tools emerging like this. It doesn't have to be this one. There's a few others in the space, but if especially for the advertisers in the audience, if you're writing ad copy, it can become really tedious, and you might have to write multiple ad copies across hundreds of SKUs, which is really a pain in the butt. This tool takes, for instance, your target keywords and even the product description, so the landing page, and generates multiple different copy variants, and it's actually very good. So, just a few years ago, I wouldn't trust artificial intelligence to write my copy for me, but we're getting to the point where you kind of write one variation and this can give you like 7 more, which is great because then you can test those 8 against each other really easily in an ad set. And all of a sudden you can see if yours is winning or if the AI is winning. And over time, you'll find that it's helping you find terminology that you were just not going to be able to use. And I think this tool, I don't remember if it does yet. I think one of the things coming with this tool will be that it might integrate with a tool like Okendo and other review tools, pull in what people are saying from the reviews, and then turn those into ads. I think that's coming soon on their roadmap. So keep an eye on a tool like Copysmith. This would be for your back end, for yourself, your internal team. You don't have to share it with your clients, but your clients say, hey, we need to run ads. We want creative copywriting, and we should be testing, a few variants. Boom, we've got this one. And then one more to add on to that. These guys are actually speaking in our event next week, which I'm really excited about. It's called Pencil. Now, the same way that we were using AI to create copy, we can use AI to actually create video content for us. And it will figure out, okay, the drop-off rate is at 7 seconds. What happens at 7 seconds? Oh, we need to swap that creative around. And so it'll actually take your ad, slice it into chunks, reorganize it based on what it thinks will be the best to perform ad. So what you might pay well, first, typically your creative services department isn't thinking about how to adjust ads based on what performs the best. They're like, we need this flow. We need to have, this big shot first. And then this platform comes in and says, actually, that spanning shot has a huge drop-off rate. Let's just cut to the product or something like that. Like the AI actually knows how to predict like the return on ad spend based on the sequence of your videos. It just blows my mind.
And I will just piggyback on that real quick while I let another note-taking app in this thing. Anyways, Creatively Squared. So I saw a couple people are Magento. If you're dealing with mid-market plus, one of the demands from your clients will be to create branded images like this one here, right? If your clients are doing it this way, where they tend to contract somebody or reach out to some photographer and schedule some shoot of the actual products, you're doing it all wrong. And your clients can save $1 million a year, however much they're spending, by using Creatively Squared. These guys have the photographers in place. They have the pre-built stock images ready for graphics, and they sell a service that's not cheap. You know, it's not going to be a $50 a month tool or solution, but you can get all of your clients' pre-branded assets done for them up front with a margin and residuals using Creatively Squared. You can white label it. If you do have that type of purview over your clients where you're managing their creatives, check these guys out. Again, not cheap. It's for mid-market plus, but will allow you to do some really cool stuff for your clients and generate a ton of assets for them. They can use an ads, website. There's video content as well, not just static or stock. So check them out. And then let's go ahead and kick this off.
I got one more. Just squeeze it in here. Lev AR is augmented reality and 3D modeling, where you can take 6 pictures of your product just sitting on like the corner. It doesn't have to even be professionally done. They turn it into a full 3D model, and then you can place it in the house. So especially for household and visual products that are like, is this the right size? Is this going to work in my office or something like that? Those clients, you could offer this service again as a managed service on top of what you do. Okay, I know we're out of time.
I love it. So yeah, we're talking about this today. A couple people just joined. Again, it's how to set up new services, what tools to use, what tools actually allow you to support new services on top of your clients' sites, right? That's the name of the game. It's not refer to a tool. It's actually own the relationship. It's actually manage a service. It's actually doing something to not only better your clients' campaigns or site builds or whatever it is, but also make some money, make some billable hours, make some retainers, that kind of stuff. So I'm going to stop recording here and get ready for Ricard. He's